Okay, guys, today we're going to compare and order numbers. We're going to do two parts, okay? So we're going to start with the comparing. When you compare something, all you are doing is trying to see which one is better than the other. You guys have done this before in the past with regular numbers. If you had $6 and you had $8, they always did this little circle there and they say which one was greater than, less than, or equal to. Greater, less, or equal. Actually, I have it backwards. That's less, greater than equal. All you have to do is look at your number and say, okay, 6, 8, 8 was bigger. So you had the alligator mouth trying to eat the bigger one. You guys remember this in the past, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? Some of you are an alligator mouth. I don't know what you're talking about. Alligator, right? He always wants to eat the most food, so they wanted the biggest, the most number. Then we started getting into bigger numbers, like 68, 6 and 68. Then we started getting even bigger numbers, 4, 3, 9, 6. How did you figure out which one had the biggest number? Which one was the greatest number? What did you do? Just looked at the first number, right? So when we look at this first number, you guys automatically say, that first number is a 9, that number is a 6, therefore it must be the 9, right? Everybody agree? Right? Wrong. Please somebody tell me why this does not work. Why can we not just look at the first number? Denisha. Right. You can't just look at it and say, this one's a 9, that one's a 6, 9's bigger. What did you actually do in your head? You actually looked in your head and said, okay, this is in the thousands place, this is in the 10,000s place. What you really were doing was lining up your number just like you were adding it, right? Like if we were to add it up, we just lined it up right here, and then we looked at it and said, well, look, that 6 is more than that nothing, so that's bigger. What you really were doing is you were lining up the decimals. You're going to hear me say that about 1,000 times over the next month or so. When it comes to decimals, whenever we're working with decimals, the first thing I'm going to always tell you to do is line up your decimals. Okay? Let me give you an example. If I had two numbers here, and I had, is that greater than, less than, or equal to, let's do this way. Greater than, less than, or equal to. You can't just look at the first number and say, oh, 3 and 3, and you have to line up your decimal. What I mean by that is, here's your decimal, right? Here's the decimal here. So let's line them up. Let's put my decimal here. What number is in front of my decimal over here? 3. So I'm going to take this number and bring it over here. 3 is in front. What's behind it? 865, right? So if I do 865, now we can compare. Once your decimals are lined up, always start over here on your left-hand side and look at your numbers. 3 and 3. Which one's greater? Neither. They're the same. If they're the same, move on. Let's go to the next one. 6 or 8? 8's greater, right? Do I need to keep going? No. Once you find out a number that's greater or less than, you're done. This is the greater number, so I would have the alligator eat the greater number. Always line up your decimal. Let me show you another example why some of you are going to miss it. Some of you are going to look at it and go, 1, 9, done. Is that what you're told to do? No, what do? Thank you, line up the decimal. So here's the decimal. Let's put my decimal right underneath it so it's lined up. What number's in front of my decimal over there? What's behind it? 632, okay? Now, where do I start? The first number, 1 and 9, and say, oh, 9's bigger? No. You start all the way on the far left side, and you look. Do I do 1 and 9 because those are my first numbers? No. You're looking at the position. I have a 1 here, but I have nothing here. Well, how much is nothing worth? Nothing! Nothing is nothing, which is 0, right? One of the other things you're going to hear me say a lot is fill in your blanks with 0. That's a blank, right? I could put a 0 there, and now it makes it real easy, right? 1 and 0, which is more? 1. Makes it real easy, because now all I got to do is say, well, 1 is more than 0, so up, done. Do I need to worry about anything else behind it? Once I find those two numbers that are different, I'm done. Sometimes they give you crazy numbers. Jeez, look how big that number is. Does it change the steps? No. What's the first step you do? Put my decimal right here. Transfer that number over here. What numbers are in front of it? 382, right? Behind it is 615. Now, where do I start to compare? The front. 3 and 3. They're the same, right? 8 and 8. Same. 2 and 2. Same. 6 and 6. Same. 5 and 1. They're different. Which one's greater? 5. Therefore, alligator eats the 5. Any questions so far? Let me give you a tough one here. Step 1. Line up my decimals. There's no decimal there. Just put one wherever, right? I'm gonna put a decimal in here. No, well, some of you say no. Let's put it right here. Some of you say no. Let's put it right. Where do I put a decimal? If there's no decimal in my problem or in my number, where is your decimal going to be then? Say real loud. At the end, always. Okay, remember I talked about this the other day? I don't say I'm 42 years old. I don't say I have $67 in my wallet. If I don't tell you a decimal, if there's no decimal in your whole number, just pretend like it's always at the end. Now I can line my decimals up. 18's in front. Behind it is 0, 0, 0, 6. Same steps. 1 and 1, 8 and 8. Nothing and 0. Wait, which one's more, nothing or 0? I have nothing in this hand and I have 0 in this hand. They're the same, right? Nothing and 0. Nothing and 0. Nothing and 0. Nothing and 6. 6 is greater. Alligator eats the 6. Okay? Any questions so far? This is comparing. Ordering is so much harder. Ordering is putting in order 3 or more numbers. So if I gave you I have 3 numbers here. And I want to see which one is and I want to go from greatest to least. How do I figure out which one's the greatest? It's what you've been doing. Same steps. What's your first step? Line up my decimals. But this time I have 3 numbers, right? So I'm going to have 3 decimals. This is 6.152, and that is 6.125. Okay? Now that I have these all lined up, now all I gotta do is do exactly like we've been doing before, but this time we are comparing all 3 of them. We're going to see which one is the greatest. Just like before, 6, 6, 6. They're the same. 2, 1, 1. 2 is greater. 2 is greater than the 1 and the 1. So that means what? This is the greatest, right? So my greatest is 6.215. Once I get that one as my greatest, I'm done with it. And now, start over and do it the same 2 here. 6 and 6, 1 and 1, 5 and 2. 5 is greater, so 5 goes next. 6.152, and then what? 6.125. Okay? Tough stuff, right? Let me try one more for you. Uh-oh. How many numbers do I have now? 4. So how many decimals should I have? 4. I got one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This should be 18.3, right? 18.3. 18.36. 18. Okay? Let's now compare. Again, we're going greatest to least. Pay attention to this. I'll give you a fair warning. In 5th grade, that's how they trick you. Some of the questions will be greatest to least, and then like 5 questions later, it'll be least to greatest. Pay attention to that. That's how they get you. Compare them as normal. 1, 1, 1, 1. Same. 8, 8, 8, 8. Same. 3, 3, 3, 0. Oh, 0. Is 0? What does that tell me? It tells me what? It's the least, right? Because if I have 3, 3, 3, 0, 0 is the least, right? Well, can't we put that as the least? Let's put that last. 18 is last. Done. Try again. Start over. 1, 1, 1. 8, 8, 8. 3, 3, 3. 0, 0, 0, nothing, 6. 6 is what? 6 is the greatest. Well, that means 18.36 is the greatest, right? Start all over. 1, 1. 8, 8. 3, 3. Nothing, 0. 6, nothing. 6 is greater, right? That's next. 18.306, and then finally 18.3. Okay? Any questions? This is all we're doing today, guys. If you know the steps, line up your decimals, start on the far left-hand side, and compare that way. You'll be able to compare 2 numbers. You'll be able to order 3 numbers, order 4 numbers, and so on. Okay? All right.